Welcome to Brave Frontier's Unit Analysis. Brave Frontier was launched in December 2013. You start the game by picking one of the 4 starting heroes. As you progress, you obtain units that help you along your journey. There are many in-game events such as PvP, Vortex Dungeons, and Frontier Hunter. The BF Pioneers team consists of 7 individuals, Lance, Traylox, Nova, Eco, Pika, JD, and Storm, who researches the units beforehand to give a reasonable ranking. Rankings are given in a 1 to 5 scale and follow 2 guidelines. 1. Each unit is evaluated against other units of the same element. 2. Each unit is ranked against unreleased units that are expected to come out within 1 month. Viewers can vote through our website at www.bfpioneers.com. You guys ready? Let's get started. Welcome to the 19th episode of the Brave Frontiers Unit Analysis. I am Traylox, and with us tonight are casters Lance, Storm, and Loki. How are you guys doing?
Hi guys.
Doing pretty awesome.
Doing well.
The agenda tonight, unit rankings, which includes the new 6-star units, Frontier Hunter Season 9, an art contest announcement, and 10 Amazon gift cards. The winner of Season 3 of the art contest will receive a Brave Frontier phone case of their choice and other prizes which will be revealed in the coming weeks. Ranking the units is done on a 1 to 5 scale, 5 being the best, which is then recorded on the bottom left of your screen. We would like to encourage you to vote alongside with us by going to www.bfpioneers.com. Tonight, your vote will count as 25% of the overall vote. So we're going to start with Frontier Hunter. It was released yesterday. What do you guys think of Frontier Hunter Season 9? And we're going to start with Loki. What's your opinion?
Well, the first thing I like to do is give a PSA to everybody listening. If you have, or if you're looking to get an LG phone like the G3 or even the G2, and you're playing Brave Frontier, do not do it. It's really, for some reason, the version of Android is really bad, and it crashes constantly. So I think beginning, middle, and end are all pretty easy. You can just. I mean, I auto battled my way through the first 2, and then the second one just making sure that the buffs were in the right order, or the BBs rather. I only tried Terminus once, and I failed the first one because it crashed right after the Greed God. The Golden God. Before you attack him, he gives you like a command, and you sort of do it, sort of a Simon Said situation. And mine crashed right before he did that, so when I loaded back in, I had no idea what he was telling me to do. So I ended up attacking him, which was a bad situation, and he ended up just killing my whole team. So I haven't been able to get back in there since, but I do suggest if you do have an LG phone do something else or try like use like another device to do it because that will mess you up.
Interesting.
So that's all I got.
All right. So Lance or Storm, have you guys tried the Terminus level yet? And what can we expect from it?
I've actually completed Terminus. I think compared to the last one, I didn't have as much trouble. Like once you figure out how to do the stages, it's not that bad. Last stage, like Zebra was annoying, but I had a lot of fun fighting the Golden God because there's actually it's actually different, you know. Like last time, you just want to do as much damage as you can, finish clear as fast as you can. But this is a new mechanic, you know, where you follow the Golden God's rules, and then he rewards you with healing an extra BB gauge. So I thought that was interesting and something new, because I was getting really bored of Frontier Hunter because there was nothing new. The rewards were the same. There's no rewards for getting higher rank than 21 because 21 is the level cap right now. So I think for me and many people, I think we just want Frontier Hunter because of the extra Spear Frog because we really are ranked 21. So not really looking forward to this one. I think I'm just gonna not play it often. Maybe just whenever I'm bored, I'll just do Frontier Hunter. But after you get that all the rewards, you just like just wait till the next one, I guess. But I'm hoping that they release the new ranks so that we can actually work for something. So yeah, not that bad. If you're having trouble, just make sure you read the guides. So if you have like a really strong team, you can one-shot this every single stage. But if you don't have a strong team, you should go to, and turtle, you know, bring like a Dharma shell. That's what I did the first time I was having trouble. The Dharma shell can protect you against a lot of the strong hits like the lock piercing arrow. So yeah, try a Dharma shell if you have trouble.
And Storm, I think I heard that you did try Darwin Shell, right?
Oh yeah.
How'd that work out?
It actually worked really well. This Terminus was a bit of a surprise for me. I've only been around for 3 Frontier Hunters, and the last ones, 1 through 3, are always the same. But when you get to Terminus, it's always been you throw a GX, you throw a Michelle, a bunch of high hit count, high drop count units, and you just spam right through it. And so when that team ultimately failed against Locke and then immediately got one-shotted, it was kind of a shocking point for me. It was like, well, what do I do here? I threw a couple of teams together. I think one time we even went with a mono dark squad, and we're like, hey, let's just, let's throw stuff at the wall. Let's see what happens. And eventually that ended up becoming a Darwin Shell turtling squad. And it wasn't so much the turtle as that we just tried to two-turn everything, and we really just relied on Darwin Shell to keep us alive, and then SBB spam to hit everyone. And so that was a bit of a difference. I really enjoyed the Golden God fights. At first, I thought he was just talking out of his stuff because 99% of the time when a unit starts talking to you, it's just kind of filler spam. And so seeing him talk and actually having to interact with his talking, that was a really interesting mechanic. I know they've been doing some gimmicky stuff, but I really liked the Golden God fight. That was very gimmicky, and I liked it. It was cool.
What's funny was I tried Frontier Hunter, and well, I didn't pay attention because I was just clicking through. I was like, okay, I can burst this guy down, and he starts chomping like on my units. I'm like, okay, I'm not taking that many damage, and then he does this like weird, like crazy, like he opens his mouth and like bites my entire unit off, and then 2 unit dies. It's so weird. But I guess I should pay more attention next time. All right. For the viewers who just joined us, we were talking about Frontier Hunter Season 9. If you guys have any questions, feel free to ask, and we will answer them promptly. But for now, do you guys have anything else to add? Looks like the prizes are of the norm, just leg wand as the top, and then we have some imps and gems and burst frogs. Do you guys have anything else to add to Frontier Hunter?
Yeah. Yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead, Storm.
I don't really have anything else to add. There are a bunch of different teams that can actually do this. So if you see someone who does it and they have units that you don't have, Don't worry too much. This is not a one squad only kind of fight. Go out there, look at a couple of videos. There are a bunch of different squads that can actually do this. Just pay attention to this tournament is about a lot of mechanics. And so if you're one of the people who doesn't have all of the top tier units, just pay attention to the mechanics, do the best you can, and try and just go with sustainability, survivability, and BC generation if you can't one-shot them. Don't be afraid to turtle/tank it.
Yeah, just like Storm said, this Terminus, you can actually finish with a lot of teams. It doesn't really matter. And like I don't think it matters to try to get the highest score, like the highest score possible. I mean, if because the thing is, right now, a lot of people are already ranked 21, so it's not that hard to do well. But the thing is, once the rank 20, 26 and up the rank 21 and higher comes out, it's gonna get like really really hard and really competitive. You're gonna be fighting against like probably Karaza and Nova and all the other people who spend a lot of money. So it's gonna be really really difficult in the future. But for now, everyone's just like hibernating because there's no incentive to like gym so much. So I suggest you try your best right now because in the future it's gonna get a lot harder. So just try your best, and many many teams will work. So just keep trying, and I'm pretty sure you can get all the reward if you just started playing for a few months and have a few 6 stars. So yeah, just good luck.
And with that, we're going to move on to the Ciara and Samira batch. Now, these units were released as part of the Halloween event, you could say, and many were anticipating really nice 6-star forms, and one of whom was actually Nova. He was like, well, these units cost a ton, and these will be meta-changing, and now we have their 6-star forms. So we're going to start with Lance this time on the ranking of Ciara. Viewers, you guys can join in as well at our website, and we will post that link in chat. So Lance, what do you think about Ciara in her 6-star form?
Honestly, I hope that she was more game breaking because when Nova first told us like she was really hyped out and while she's still a good unit, I just really hope that she would break the game like how Maxwell first broke it or how Ultra broke it when they first came out. The 65% to all fire, water, earth, thunder, that's really nice. But the thing is, like attack bonus is not doesn't go as far as it used to anymore. For example, people will choose to get extra battle crystals compared to like a 50 or 65% attack up now. So and the thing is, the weak element law is nice. It doesn't break any stats. It doesn't go higher than Maxwell. So you can't really bring her if you want to maximize your damage. You still leave her behind. But the thing is, I liked how Gumi was listening to us. When they first released her with the low damage multiplier, like around 10%. Everyone was saying, "Wow, these Unix they sucked," like because it seems like they really messed up on their super berry burst. But then Gumi was actually listening, and they changed it to around 400%, like the rest of the 6-star. So now she's usable again. I think she's a really good unit. She's one of the units that have a defense ignore. Defense ignore is nice. But I just really wish that it would have been something different, like something like attack plus and spark plus. That would be better than defense ignore because if you're gonna be fighting like a boss or units that have high defenses, you want to bring units that can just penetrate those defense, but it doesn't happen often. But if she has attack plus and she has a spark damage plus, then she's usable for a lot of situations. So I just really wish that they would have done something like that, but they didn't. This unit, it's a good unit, nice stats, nice skills, but nothing like too crazy in game breaking, kind of like Old Tour. So for that, I'll give it a 4-star. And my favorite type would be Anima. So yeah.
Okay, Loki, it's your turn. What do you think of Ciara?
I think it's awesome that her art has a little basket full of food for grandmother's house. It's pretty cool. I think I was actually pretty distressed about Ciara because her 5-star, as Lance said, her 5-star was just like so amazing. It was like, oh my god, she has a 6-star like leadership skill, on a 5-star unit. So like, what is your 6-star going to be? And it just was underwhelming to me, what she was doing. So I would have to give her a 3.5. And I only, for some reason, anytime I ever summon, I always get Guardian. So my favorite is Guardian. That's just Guardian.
Loki, 3.5. So would you round that to a 4?
That's rough. I'd just say like a 3 then.
A 3? Because here it's we just rounded to the whole number, so
yeah, so 3.
So 3, okay. 3 in Guardian. And Storm, what about you?
All right, so Ciara is, in my opinion, arguably one of the strongest attack buffers in the game. So a quick PSA about her. With how units work, sometimes they work exactly like you hope them to, and sometimes they don't. Ciara is one of those half-and-half mixtures. She has an attack buff and a defense ignore. Both of them last for 2 turns. However, the defense ignore is applied in time for her attack to be calculated. Her attack buff is not applied in time for it to be calculated. So what that means is she's going to apply the attack buff to everybody, period, but her attack is going to happen before she actually gets it herself. And so if you're in a scenario where the fight's going to last for a while, and you can consistently SBB spam, she is the strongest attack buffer in the game, mostly because the defense ignore effect she has on her SBB gives you about 400 or so extra damage per unit at in-game content, and so that's really going to make up the difference you have there. Now hers is only 110% boost to attack, whereas Kula, Michelle, they're boosting 115, and Ultor is boosting 120. And so with that in mind, the defense ignore is going to make up for the discrepancy in those attack stats if you don't have defense ignore already on your team. So that's, again, a little duality there. Her typing, normally with my attack units, I used to like to go breaker to get things dead extra fast. Unfortunately, with these units, there's very little points added with their typing. With Anima being the most, it almost adds 1,000. Her other stats only add about 200 points or so with those typings. So I'd give her a 4-star, and I'd say Anima for her.
Mm-hmm. And Lance, did the viewers? I can't see the viewers voting right now.
Yeah, I gave you the link. Did you update your
Yeah, it's
your OBS with that link?
Yeah, it's updated, but I just don't see anything. So I guess we're just gonna do the old-fashioned way, Lance. You want just people to shout out what they want to vote in chat, and we'll go with that. The majority.
Yeah. Sorry guys, we're having a lot of technical issues, so I guess we can do that. Yeah, but
all right, guys.
Okay. Let's do it one more try first. This is the Sherlock's.
Mm-hmm.
This is the voting link where they can vote. I just want to make sure that you're using the right one.
Okay.
And this is the results. Okay, so make sure.
Thanks, bro, llama. 3.5.
Why? What happened?
Oh, he voted 3.5 also. So.
Yeah, when I look at that page, it's just saying it just says how would you rate 6-star Ciara and has no options on it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there might be a problem with this.
Okay, so is it loading? At least is it loading the question?
It loads the questions. It's not loading the options.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Let's try this, and hopefully this works. So. All right, it should be up.
And yes, it's up. All right, guys.
Yay! All right, awesome.
There it is. All right, guys. So
There
go
we go.
vote. And we'll spend 10-15 seconds, and then we'll average out your vote. So Ciara and Samira were part of the global exclusive units, and now we have Cyclaw, which hasn't been released yet. Well, it's been released, but they're like, well, 6-star form is going to come soon. What do you guys think of Cyclaw 6-star form? Is it going to be game changing or?
I feel really sad because the main purpose of him being right here is so that he can evolve Ultor, and I just feel like it's really sad. Like this whole existence is just to evolve Ultor. Uh, so I feel that's really sad right now. But hopefully, well, the thing is, some people didn't even know. Some people just thought that he was just used for evolution item. So if Cyclaw does get a 6-star and it's really OP, I think if people just capture one Cyclaw to evolve the Ultra, I think people are gonna be pretty sad. But yeah, he'll probably come up again, and let's see what he can do. Yeah, I'm actually curious to see what he has.
All right, Lance. What did the people vote?
All right, so 10 people says he's a 4-star too, or she's a 4-star too.
And I guess the average will come out to be a. The next unit up is Samira. Let's start with Storm. What's your opinion on Samira?
All right, so ever since they removed the ABP little glitch thing from Arena, I haven't really been focused on Arena. And with Samira, her only place to shine is going to be certain EX dungeons and Arena. I'm not a big fan of her. So first off, I'm going to give Samira a 3. Mostly, it's that 1900 attack stat that kind of just really hurts me inside. But on the flip side, like all of her pros, she does have a lot of great pros for her. The fact that she is better than Nalmika in every single way, there's no point in using Nalmika over Samira. Her Super Brave Burst has an 80% chance to inflict 3 different types of ailments, all of which are really amazing. Her leadership skill is very nifty if you're trying to bull a mono dark, mono light squad along with that status ailment protection. So if you're not looking at raids and trials and you're just doing like if you're still progressing through the game, she's a really good leader if you pulled a bunch of dark and light, because having a 50% boost to your light attack and a 50% boost to your dark attack and negating status elements, that's a huge help in the early game. It's going to get you way far in the game until you finally change to something who's better. So early game, she's an amazing unit, but late game, she's really just going to be an Arena or a niche unit who only goes into certain trials or certain EX dungeons. So definitely 3-star when it comes to her. And I'm going to go with Breaker just because her attack stat is so low. I know it's only 198 points to adds, but Breaker's going to give her over that 2,000 mark, which is really where I want all of my units to be.
All right. Loki? What do you think of Samira? And do you agree that it's a good Arena unit?
I do. In fact, I'm just going to put this out that I think, frankly, her main spot, other than, as Storm said, her niche spots as in special dungeons, is really she shines in Arena. I mean, her BB is very it just needs very few crystals to fill completely, and Breaker, in Arena, she needs to be Breaker. It makes her defense pretty low, about 1,500, but she needs that damage. One thing I do want to mention is I was just going to go into her ability does nullify ailments. So if you don't have one of those units like a Rebel Angel or or Twins or Rees or whatever, she is pretty useful in that respect. So I do want to point that out. And Namika is one of my favorite units, so it's sort of sad to see her beaten out in every single stat, but them's the breaks. So I would give her a Breaker, and I would give her a 3 normally, and then a 4 in Arena. I don't know, we don't have a special stat for Arena.
All right, and I guess pick which one weighs more, 3 or 4. What's your Loki? Is Loki still here?
The indecision literally killed him. He could not decide. It literally killed him. Rest in peace, Loki. We knew you well, man.
All right, so we'll wait until he revives back. For now, Lance, let's hear your opinion on Samira.
I really like Samira when she was a 5-star, and so now that she's a 6-star, I like her even more now. Just a little bit more, but I like her more now. Back then, I was using when she first came out. I was using her in my Modern Dark team, so I had a Modern Dark Arena team, and Samira had one of the spots. That's because how good she was, and she's better now. Her main weakness back then, when she was only a 5-star form, was because she didn't have high enough stats. So she would get focused and die really easily in the arena. But now that she has better stats, she can actually take a beating and be okay, and then counterattack and hit really hard. My favorite thing about her is the paralyze on her BB and SBB. She does more than just paralyze. She also curse, poison, and weakens. But the thing is, her paralyze is what really stands out in the arena, because when you're fighting in the higher level arena, your opponents they become really strong. Like they have a lot of dual spear units. They have a lot of units that uses like Aegis cloaks. They have units like Ultor who increase defense. So it's really hard to kill your opponent's like the second turn BB. So you'll before this, everybody just did a second turn BB and it'll be okay. You know, everybody dies second turn BB. But now your opponents are getting really tinky. So you'll do a second turn BB, and the thing is they won't die. And the thing is they'll come back and they'll do their BB, and then your team will die. And the reason for this is because they built their team tanky, and you built your team like a glass cannon type with no extra HP, no extra defense. So when they counter BB, your team is gonna die. So Samira is kind of like insurance, or if you use her on your team, even if she doesn't kill them on her second turn BB, she'll paralyze them. And if she paralyzes them, they're as good as dead. So that's why I really like her. But the thing is, she's really good in arena, but the thing is, she's not a perfect unit. Questing, she gives the Battle Crystal buff, which is really useful. But it's just like she's just not there. She's close to 5-star, but she's not a 5-star. So I would give her a 4-star. And my favorite type would be Breaker 2 because I mainly use her for arena. So
Okay. Now you guys mentioned a lot about arena, and I'm just wondering, how does Samir compare to other units like Hoger, Ophelia, Farlan? I mean, they're all good arena units. Does any one of them stand out?
well, the thing is, Samira, she has a different role. Her role is to apply status effects like paralyze, and other units role like Laliras, like the Farlongs, like Ophelia. They're good arena units because their BB charges really fast. But now with the Halloween spheres, and the Lexida, it doesn't really matter if you're like a low BB count unit, because like a lot of units can actually fill up their Bravers by second turn because all these Halloween units and Lexidas. So yeah, but they do different things. Like Samira, she's kind of more for insurance and for status effects, and the other units are for like really quick like BB after a second turn. So yeah.
Okay. Loki, are you back?
Yes, I am. Sorry, I've been having internet problems.
Oh, no problem. So what did you end up deciding on? Was it 3 or a 4?
3.
Okay. All right, and your vote is in. And Lance, what did the viewers think?
The viewers think that she deserves a 3-star. So yeah, 6-star Samira.
Wow.
Yeah, I think 3 is a little bit low, but
I think what it is a lot of people don't understand the complexity of arena. A lot of people, when they see arena from first blush, when you look at arena, you think, okay, this is simple. I have high drop checks, low BC cost. I'm just going to win for forever. My leadership skill should either be, you get a little deeper into it. You have your BC generators up into the first slot. You have a couple other things going on, and there's not a lot of people who get further and further into the arena meta and how it actually takes place. They don't know about the tiers of units and how each unit has a separate role of what should be happening, what shouldn't be happening, and how arena actually plays out. I think arena is really just one of the undervalued aspects of the game.
yeah,
And so with
yeah, exactly as Storm said. I just think that right now, if you're like a new player and you're fighting arena and you have some strong good units, you'll constantly win, and you'll be like win, win, win. and then you'll really never appreciate it until you hit the brick wall, where the enemies they don't die, first or second turn anymore, and then that's the time where you start looking into it deeper and maybe think like, oh, maybe I need maybe status effects, or maybe I need to fancy ignore in the arena, or something crazy like that. But I just think that, like Storm said, people just don't really think about it because they keep winning, and it's really easy in the beginning. So.
All right, so viewers, you guys picked 4 for Ciara and 3 for Samira. I'm really curious as to what you guys will pick for the Fiora batch now. So, moving on to Fiora. Fiora was released approximately a week ago with their 6-star forms, and we noted in their 5-star forms that they're interesting, they're unique, because they give 2 different elements to your units. For example, Fiora gives fire and thunder, as well as attacks and gives a certain buff. So, Lance, now that they have 6-star forms, how do they stack up with the other fire units? Lance? Is Lance here?
The indecision has literally killed him.
I'm having the same issue as you guys. I muted my mic and then I forgot to unmute it. So.
Okay.
But I was saying how, like when the Lance Vortex came out, people were using Michelle, even though Michelle was really weak, like at that time because her stats wasn't as high. Now we finally get a really good fire unit that has the fire buff, and she just doesn't have like a fire buff, but she also has a thunder buff also. So yeah, I think that alone is worth looking at her. I think out of all these units, besides Nova thinks that Eve is, of course, the best in and this whole set. So besides Nova, I think a lot of the viewers, they really like Fiora, and she's probably their favorite unit, if not their favorite unit. So one of the better units in the set. And her leader skill, it's kind of situational. Like you don't really need a chance for random elements. Yeah, you don't really need that all the time, but if you had to, then you can use it. But it's not a strong leader skill. But what you have to look into is her SBB, which makes her really relevant in the game. And that's because she can actually add fire and thunder, like I said earlier. But also she has a chance to reduce enemy attack for 1 turn. And while this is might sound like it's not that good because it's chance based, you have that 30% chance. People don't like taking chances, but the thing is, when you're fighting like really tough bosses, you don't have to worry about it because you can just use her first, and if her if her her debuff or buff doesn't land, then you can just use your damage mitigator, like your Dharma Shell, and then if her buff landed, then you can just save your Dharma Shell's BB or SB for the next turn. So that's what I really like about her. And the Japan version, like you can actually see all the buffs that you have. So hopefully in the near future, maybe a few weeks, we'll get that feature where we can actually see all the buffs that we have on our units on the screen. So I think that she's going to be a really good unit in the future. And so I'll give her a 4-star. And she's definitely usable right now just because of her fire and thunder attack alone. So 4-star, and I'll stick to my type that I got, which is Anima.
All right, Loki. Someone in chat mentioned, she is really kawaii, and that's why she deserves like a really good score. And seeing from her evolutions from her 4-star to 5-star, she bursts out of her cloak or whatever she's wearing into her natural beauty. And Loki, what do you think of that? Is this a quality that you look out for?
I think definitely. I think Fiora is top tier waifu material. She's still not as much as a waifu as Olu is. The Giant Ice Fortress is pretty much the best waifu in the game, but second best is Fiora, I think. As a unit, she has very high stats. She's definitely top tier. We've seen this power creep thus far in Brave Frontier, and it doesn't stop here. So Fiora has very nice stats, and her SPB does damage. It gives thunder and fire, as Lance said. And it does do this new ability, which is a 30% chance to reduce enemy attack for 1 turn. I know in the future it's going to be a big deal to be able to reduce that, and I know she and Arden share that ability, so it's sort of like unique to them. At the moment though, with the content we have now, it's not really that useful. So it sort of makes me a little wary of her as a character at the moment. So I would give her a 4 rating, and the best for her, of course, is Guardian, though I have sadly only an anima of her. And I would just say that later on she's going to be very, very useful, and probably a 5 later on. But since I'm rating for right now, I would give her a 4. Also, I would say that her Brave Burst is only 30% chance, which is a bit low in my opinion.
That's understandable. And Loki, given that you're giving these units a lot of Guardians, I wonder if you're taking Nova's spot.
It's because Guardians are the only thing I summon.
Oh, okay.
So I want everybody else to feel what I feel.
All right.
Also,
Storm?
the best offense is a good defense. So.
Oh no, that's not. Oh, the best. Oh, of course. All right, Storm. What's your opinion on Fiora?
All right, with Fiora, her and Arden have a very unique skill. And so what this is going to be a toss-up. There are pros and cons when assigned to this skill. The biggest con is the fact that it's a 30% chance to proc. And I really hate taking chances, but the fact that this is so unique and it's these are the only 2 units who currently have this skill, sometimes it's going to be really worth the gamble, because sometimes there's going to be a boss, you're going to hit that enrage, and they're going to smack you so hard that most likely you're not going to get back up. And sometimes your mitigation just isn't going to be enough to get you through it. And so when that happens, sometimes you have to roll a dice, and you have to use either Fiora, Arden, or for chance sake, use both. It's one of the strongest mitigations because it just pretty much halves their attack stat, which is absolutely fantastic. So if you can get that to proc, it's amazing. Now, with that being said, she doesn't have much else going for her. She has some really good stats, which is something we've been seeing with a lot with these units lately. She's got a pretty good hit count, a pretty good drop check. One of the things I really dislike is the fact that her leadership skill has such a low chance. I think the highest status element was only a 10% chance. And so with that being calculated before you attack and not per hit, most likely at the time you're just never going to see that actually proc. And so when you have her and you have Samira, I'd rather just bring Samira as a DPS. And if I need status elements, then trying to rely on a 10% proc chance, because you're already worried about that 30% chance for it to actually happen. Having to worry about another 10% chance of a status element, that's just asking for RNGesus to be entirely too kind to you. Now, she does add the duality of fire and thunder elements. And I know that there's a lot of like when you're going to be using her, it's going to be against trials and certain events that are going to happen where you need her ability. And so that's the same kind of scenarios where we bring our status or our elemental changers. We leave our Zelbons, our Melkias, we leave them to the side unless we're going up against a Thunder boss or against a Dark boss. And so the fact that we're going to bring her in the slot as the elemental changer and also as a chance for that 30% chance to half their attack, she's going to be a very good trial fighter. So I'm going to give her a 4-star. Based on her changes, she does not gain a lot of defense as Guardian, with only 200 points of defense being added there. I'm probably going to have to go with Anima, because she has such a low HP stat, with it only being 6100. And with her max imp bonus being 750, you can add almost 1600 to her HP just by being Anima. So I'm going to have to go with a 4-star for Fiora, with Anima typing as the most ideal.
Mm-hmm. I remember Nova back then. When Naumaka came out, she was the person to do status ailments because it has such a high chance to proc. And then I remember Nova a couple weeks later when he started using Naumaka that it didn't really matter as much, the status elements. Like, you needed better units in the squad. So, like you guys mentioned, the chance to reduce enemy attack. Is this a skill, like a very unique skill? Is it like better than all the other status elements?
I think they're different status elements. They do different things. Like uh, most of the time you don't need status elements because the enemies are too weak that you don't care about causing status elements because they'll die in like 1 or 2 turns. But the thing is, you need them for boss fights, and also like these units, you also need them for boss fights too. But the thing is, they do different things. For example, the damage mitigation of Fura, that's separate from status elements. You can cause some status elements, and you can cause some like the damage reduction, and these are two separate things. So you can have both of them. Yeah. So.
Okay. Okay.
Currently, there are a bunch of enemies that are immune to status elements.
Mhm.
As of right now, there is not a single boss or enemy unit in the game that is impervious to her ability. So if you proc it, it's going to happen. They cannot resist it. It is unresistible right now.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. That's what you have to worry about too, because yeah, some enemies they're completely immune or they're like really highly resistant. So, but the thing is, Fiora and Arden, you have that 30% chance, which is yeah, 30% chance. So, and it always goes off. So.
And also want to mention that unlike any other form of mitigation, you can't like stack Darvin Shell and like Olu next to one another, but you can stack this with a Olu or Darvin Shell, and it's like double mitigation.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah. If you really, really need it to. But I think you might doing the Grand Quest. Yeah.
All right. Viewers?
All right. Viewers think that she deserved a 5-star, and it was actually really interesting. When she first came out, people only saw the 4 stars and 5-star version of her. So it was just like a cloak and a giant sword. So a lot of people were really excited and curious. And then finally, like Bikini Girl came out at the 6-star, and I remember getting a lot of people were really upset. Like finally, like a different unit, and she comes out and she's a Bikini Girl. So I thought that was pretty funny. Yeah.
It's just more plot than they could handle.
Oh, you guys. All
Not a lot
right.
of room for all that plot armor.
The next unit of is Eve. You mentioned that it was Nova's favorite. Lance, what's unique about Eve? Does Eve give attack buff or defense buff?
Eve is a defense unit. She's kind of like the yin yang of Luca and Eve. Luca is for offense, Eve is for defense. Most of the time, people only really care about Luca because people just want to clear things as fast as possible, hit as hard as possible. So people just go Luca. But the thing is, I can see when Eve is useful when you're fighting like those tougher bosses or those raid bosses along the road, and you still need to do things like status element changes. Well, the thing is, Luca and Eve, they both do water and earth status changes. But the thing is, Luca goes for attack, and if you're fighting bosses that where you're spending probably, like 5 or more turns fighting, you don't want to bring an attack because you can actually bring attack any other units that can bring attack. But the thing is, there's really few units that give you like 100% defense buff. And Eve is one of these units that would give you like over 100% defense buff. So yeah, Eve, you bring her when you're fighting bosses that are really strong, that take a lot of turns to fight. And then Luca is here for when you're clearing fast, we're using crit teams to clear stages in 1 turn. So that's the difference between Eve and Luca. And Nova, he plays the Japanese Brave Frontier a lot, so he's just like, yeah, I'm gonna double sphere Eve because she's gonna be my waifu and would be with me on every single quest. So yeah, I definitely think she's good, but she's just we just can't get that raid. Gumi just keep on teasing us with the raids and showing us like hints of raids, but when it comes out, then I think Eve will be more relevant. But the thing is, even if you don't think defense is a good buff to have, her water and her earth buff is definitely like good enough to bring her along. So I'll give Eve a 4-star. And I got a Guardian Eve. I think Nova would be really happy with a Guardian Eve. But I'm sorry, I like my Animus, especially when she has 1914 base recovery. Like that's really, really high recovery. So I'll rather get more HP. And on a side note, she has like one of the highest HP in the game, so yeah, it's crazy. Yeah. All right.
All right. Loki, are you here?
Yes, I am.
All right, so Eve. Now, okay, like Lance said, we have Eve who gives water and earth elements. So we have to pick between Eve or Luca, unless you're just, unless you want some like duplicative elements in there. Like, which one is actually better? Which one do you prefer, Eve, Luca?
Well, we haven't done we haven't done Luca yet, and that's where I'm really gonna gush. So I'm gonna keep that for later.
All right.
Eve, has a lot of stuff going for her. As we always said, her stats are really high. She has huge HP. Nothing to scoff up when it comes to her defense, her attack, her rec. But she provides a defense, and she does an attack when her SBB she attacks. She provides earth and water, which is very nice. And she also provides defense buff. Now, I know Nova would disagree with me on this one, but I find that we find that defense buffs are just not as good as they used to be. The amount of actual damage mitigation the defense gives you is really not that high. And it's better if you're really going to go for defense, it's better to get like Darwin Shell or something like that to get the 50%, or Olu to get a sort of that mitigation going, rather than to have just a straight out defense buff. So I think overall a defense buff is inferior to an attack buff, because even though I say the best defense is good, best offense is good defense, being able to kill the units that are attacking you faster rather than taking more blows from them is in my opinion a better way to go. So I would have to say that Eve is going to get a 4 from me, and I would once again say that she doesn't need any more HP. She doesn't need any more HP, so I would go with Guardian for her as well. I do want to put out that she is very cute though too.
Okay.
If you like darker women.
Storm.
All right, so we're talking about Private Goddess Eve. Again, I'm more of an attacker type of person, so defense boofing units not really my forte. But I have to list the pros and cons here. So the cons are going to be her leadership skill. It's a 30% boost to HP of all units and a probable slight HP recovery when attacked. And so that first part, 30% boost to HP. I love that. I love that a lot. The second part, that probable, I think it's somewhere between 20 to 30% chance of proccing. I don't remember. It's not very good. So in that leadership skill slot, if I'm going to have an HP boosting unit, I'm going to prefer to have Exfel there. So I don't really like her leadership skill all that much. She's got some pretty average stats for these newer units. Her Super Brave Burst is a 20 combo attack with I think it's 2 BC drop checks per hit. And it's that boost to defense. Now, when you gain points of defense, I don't remember the exact formula, but for each point of defense you get, it's not as much damage prevention as you would like to think it is. It doesn't prevent a whole lot of damage. You would need an exorbitant amount of defense before you actually can mitigate any real damage. And so that's one of the reasons why I'm just not a big fan of defense. I'd rather boost the HP, mitigate the damage, do all of that stuff before relying on defense. I'd even rather rely on elemental typing if that's what it comes down to. But she's definitely a good unit. She's got those new stats going on, so if you pull her, she's definitely be a great part of your team, especially in the early game. She's going to outshine a bunch of your other older units because the power creep is a very real thing with this new batch. Her max imp bonuses are really well distributed, but the curious part is her lowest imp bonus is in her defense, and seeing as she's a boost to defense kind of thing, that's kind of weird. Now for typing, I'm not going to say Guardian, but I'm also not going to say Breaker, because even though she's giving 100% boost to defense, you don't want to take away from that defense and make it even less when you boost it. So I'm going to have to go with Anima, because my only other option here is Oracle, and that's never good, never good. And I'm going to vote her a solid 3-star as compared to the rest of these units.
And I can see how it's a 3-star. We already have a lot of great water units. Olu, Raiden, Fee. There's just a lot of really nice units.
That and she has competition with Luca, and I mean, Luca versus Eve. I'm gonna go with Luca every single time.
Interesting. And I'll ask you why once we get there.
I agree with Storm on that one as well.
Oh, really? I thought you preferred the defense.
When it comes to being a guardian stat, yeah, but for the defense buff, I think attack's much better. I don't know. I'll go into it when I discuss Luca.
Okay. Lance, do we have the vote up for Eve?
Yes, we do. 37 people think she's a 5-star. So I guess a lot of people like defense in the chat.
Okay. All right. And well, I think it still says Fiora, does it, or is it just me?
No, it definitely still says Fiora. We're the vote thing is wrong right now.
Oh, okay.
It hasn't been reset yet, or
All
something.
right. So average is 4 overall. The next unit up is Luca, and now again we're going to be comparing Luca to Eve because they basically do the same thing, except one applies the attack buff, which is Luca, and the other the defense, Eve. So Lance, who do you prefer?
That indecision, it is literally killing people. Just one shot dropping them.
It's the mic, it's the mic thing, the new mic thing where you turn off the mic when you're not talking. It's getting to me. Like I have to remember to turn it on
Lance,
whenever it's my turn.
Are you still using the Bluetooth, a wireless mic?
No, it's the where you mute your mic when you're not talking. Storm brought that up that we should mute our mic when we're not talking, and I'm just not used to muting my mic and then unmuting it. So I just keep forgetting to hit the mic when it's my turn. So sorry about that.
No worries.
Okay. But right now I'm just trying to make sure that Luca is up. Just to make sure she's up first. Okay, I think it's working now. Hopefully. Okay, so okay, Luca. Honestly, before Terminus, I didn't even care to level up my Luca, because what she had to offer was that 100% attack boost. And the thing is, I just don't think that that's worth it to level her up just for that boost. So instead, I'll just use my units that currently have attack buffs, and I'll just don't have to worry about it. But the thing is, I reach Locke, and Locke is this thunder type that hits really hard if you don't kill her the first turn. So I finally brought in my Luca. I leveled her from level 4-star to all the way to level 6 to 6 stars, level 100, and I burst frog her all the way to Super Raper's level 10. And after that, I can finally clear every single stage one turn. So Luca, she's definitely really strong. But the thing is, I would just rather use different units like Kuda, because I hate bringing a lot of different units, or I just hate leveling a lot of units, like have this unit just for this, doing this, and have this unit just for doing this. I like units where you can just level one unit up and use it for everything. Kuda kind of fits in there really well. So that's why I was really, really hesitant on leveling up Luca. But the thing is, Luca does have her uses. For example, the attack buff, and she also provides the earth and the water buff, which is useful. But the thing is, at that time, it wasn't worth it for me to level up the unit from level 1 all the way to 6 stars, level 100, just for that extra damage. But I realized that we do need it to fight Locke and Terminus if you want to one-shot her. So that's her use. Now that I've used her with Super Rarebus 10, I definitely think that she's a good unit, but she's just not perfect. I just really wish that they would have done something different. Like have 115% attack or 120% attack up, or have something different, like how Fiora has her damage reduction, like how Samira has her Battle Crystal Plus, something more useful. So yeah, for that, I'll give her 4-star. She's good, but I wouldn't say she's perfect. So 4-star, and I'll take Anima type again.
Mm-hmm. All right, Luca. Loki,
Right.
your turn.
So, I want to say that Luca, there's only one problem, in my opinion, with Luca. And that's that if you look at the other buffer who gives attack buff, which is I think what everybody's using these days, Michelle, she gives 115 attack, right? Luca gives a bit less. I think it's 110, 105. And I have to say that that's just not enough to make her not a 5. So I just straight off the bat, I'm giving her a 5. What you have in Luca is really the whole package. You have good stats and everything. You have an attack. You have a buff that does. You have an attack buff, which is 10% shy of the best attack of the top attack buff in the game for Michelle. And then you have a attack on his SBB. Sorry, not her, his SBB. Yeah, trap. So all in one.
You got it. The chat has been like yelling for like 10 minutes.
I know. I'm sorry.
Just a quick PSA to all of you guys out there. Luca is a guy, and so is Locke. The gender confusion is real.
And Maxwell is a girl.
Oh, is he?
She.
I mean, she.
They should just they should just stamp the gender on the forehead. Like there we go. Look
It's
at
kind
the
of
picture.
funny because
like,
I checked the wiki, and now the wiki actually tells you the gender.
Yeah, I think that's just all the problems.
It's hilarious. All right, sorry, Loki. Continue on your analysis of Luca.
Yeah, so he
Uh-huh.
is a really, really good unit
Alright.
all around. If you look at Terminus, a lot of future content, you're going to see that elemental bonuses are really nice, and to have 2 elemental bonuses in one unit is a really good buff. And as I was saying before, Sheeta is seen as a really, really good unit because he adds all different elements in his SPB and on one person. When you're moving into content that relies on elemental, such as Hunter Frontier that Lance was talking about, people who are immune to critical hits like Locke, you need to do more damage to them by using elemental weaknesses. So having two elements in one character in Luca is really nice. And in all these characters here, you're going to see that on all of them. They all give 2 elemental weaknesses, which is all really, really nice for any kind of future content. Any content that relies on elemental weaknesses to do more damage.
Logan, did you just say Hunter Frontier? I'm so confused right now. I don't know what's happening. Male, female, Frontier Hunter.
Frontier Hunter, sorry.
Alright, it's fine, it's fine. No, keep going. Sorry.
So much confusion.
So much confusion. So, yeah, so I would give Luca a 5 out of 5.
What's your favorite typing?
It's going to be Guardian.
Gotcha. Storm?
All right, time to talk about Luca. I actually really enjoy Luca. She is just one of the best attack buffers in the game. I gotta say, I don't really enjoy her leadership skill. While I really enjoy the reduction in BB gauge required, Kuda just does it so much better. His is like 20%, gonna get buffed to 25% later, and hers is only like 15%, and the BB gauge filling after each turn is only 2 BC. So she is kind of the letdown there. On the other hand, she has amazing stats. She has a good 19-hit Super Brave burst called Dragon's Roar. That right there is amazing. Another thing that really hits home for me is this unit. She looks just like a summoner off of Final Fantasy XIV. I mean, you've got all of her summoned companions right there in the sprite artwork. It looks really cool. So I'm really, really impressed with this unit. I want to give her a 4-star. One of the main things you need to know about this is the Michelle batch was all about sniping. All right, you pick the element you're going to go with to fight the element you're going up against. Luca and his, I'm going to write this down. Luca and the rest of his kin, they're all about shotgunning it. You might not know what you're going up against. You want to bring the best case scenario. So you've got 2 here, 2 here, 2 here. You're really just getting the spread out there. So you're going to shotgun for that elemental weakness to try and get as much extra damage. Whereas if you bring Michelle and she's got that 115% boost to attack, that extra 15% isn't as big of a deal as you think it is with how it works out, but it is extra damage regardless. Now, if you're going up against Earth enemies, that's great. I mean, that's a bunch of extra attack going on there. Whereas Luca, if you're going to go up against a variety of enemies and you're going to be facing more thunder and more fire than you would be facing Earth, Luke is going to take the cake there with the extra damage he's going to get off of having both of those elemental advantages being given to his teammates. So that's definitely got that going on there. That being said, because he is an attack buffer, because he gives you a 100% boost to your attack, I'm going to go with Breaker for him. With Breaker typing and his imps, that's putting him right at the threshold of 2600 attack, which is a huge attack stat. Is going to do a ridiculous amount of damage. It does bring his defense down to 1824, but with his imps, you can just bump that right back up to 2100, which is a very safe range, and you can mitigate or defense boost from there if need be.
Okay. All right. What did the viewers think of him?
All right, so they think that he deserves a 5-star, so
Okay.
10 votes.
I think the chat's going to riot against me.
Okay, guys, final stretch. It's now time for my favorite unit, Orna. Orna gives, let's see, thunder and fire. So, what else do I like about Orna? Well, she has a really cool attack animation. I mentioned before in her 5-star form, but in her 6-star form, man, she holds a whip and then she flies up and then whips all the enemies with her AoE attack and they all die. If you guys haven't seen the animation, I suggest you level up in Orna. Alright, so I hope I haven't swayed the vote, but if I have, I don't really care. It's okay. Lance, what's your opinion of Orna?
I have seen the animation, so I know what you're talking about. Yeah, it's always interesting to see what unit you would pick, and yeah, like the thing is because the last one, what was the last one? It was Tia, and then the one before that was Demas. So it's always interesting to see which one of the new units is going to be a favorite. So,
Yes.
okay, so back on Orna. I think Orna, her unit art is amazing, like you said. Probably tied with Zelha, like around those type of like unit arts. So the thing about her is the only thing that she brings is that crit plus, crit damage chance. So that's the thing about her that really stands out about her. I mean, her fire and thunder is nice, but the thing is, Fira can provide that too. It's just that with her, you get the 50% crit chance plus, and it's really hard to decide between her and the Dual SGX because Dual SGX he's just like the staple currently. If you want to bring like a crit chance plus a unit, but the thing is, her crit chance is now at 50%, and that's really close to the unit cap, which is the 70% chance. And if you use items like Amano Habakins, then you automatically get that damage chance cap. But the thing about her is that it seems like that's all she can bring, you know, and there's a lot of units out there that can help you reach the crit chance plus 30. So, for example, like you don't even need her to hit the crit chance plus. Like, for example, you can just bring like a Kuda. So Kuda gives you about 40%, and then you bring like a Mono Habakins, and that's about 60%. And then you have the extra 10% from the base chance to crit. So you're already reaching the cap without using Orna. And Orna, she just makes it a little bit easier. But the thing is, if you're going to rely on just purely crit chance plus, I think I would rather go with dual SGX. So with dual SGX, you'll have the unit cap. And the thing is, instead of equipping units like Amano Habakins, you can start equipping units like Spark Spears. So like things like Heavenly Buds, you know, where you can actually increase your damage even higher and don't have to worry about, you know, oh, am I going to hit the max crit chance cap? So I really want to like her, but the thing is, she doesn't bring anything crazy. Like for example, if this unit had a 60% chance to crit instead of 50% chance to crit, then she would definitely get a solid 5 star. But the thing is, she comes and her skills are nice, but it's not like the top of the the best skill in that category. So because of this, it's hard. It seems like Gumi or Alien was having like a really difficult time balancing these units. They gave her the Thunder and the Fire, so it seems like they didn't want to give her any more buffs, or else she'd be too strong. But because of this, it's hard to decide to use her, like because a lot of the high scores that people are getting right now, people are not using her. They're using Dual SGX to get those 2 million plus for 200 like scores. So it's just really hard to like her when she doesn't bring something that we haven't seen before. Like I'll just keep referring to units like Maxwell and Ultor, units that bring something new and something that you look at and you're like immediately like super excited. So because of this, I'll give her a 4 star. I think she's definitely a really good unit, but just not top of the line perfect unit. So I'll give her a 4 star. And as always, anima type.
Loki?
Well, first of all, I want to say that I'm scared to rate her low because it's Kevin's new waifu.
Yes,
But
I'm here.
I know you're there. So hi, Kevin. Anyway, so a lot of people, out of a lot of people here, I don't know how many of you guys have to deal with this issue, but I never summoned a dual SGX. I tried many times, and I've never been able to summon a dual SGX. So when Orna came out, and here she is with a nice crit buff, I think only 10% lower than dual SGX. It's really nice. So I'm really excited she's here. I finally feel like I play with like the big boys because I have a crit buffer. So let's look at her objectively. So first of all, I do want to mention it'll be a bit skewed because I finally had a crit buffer. I'm happy. If you look at her leadership skill, which I keep forgetting to go over, but Storm always does, is pretty nice. The same as Luca. Having that thunder and fire buff on her SBB is really nice. The damage SBB as well, and the crit for 3 turns is very nice. For me, she's a very good character. She's great stats as always. As Lance and Storm both said, the power creep is real, and if you pull her, she's a great unit to have and a great unit to pull. So if you have her, I think you should use her. I think she's very good. The only thing I'd be worried about is a lot of units we're seeing are getting crits, are getting crit immunity. So we see this in Locke and Terminus. We saw this in the trials. Not the trials. What are they called? The ones in the vortex. Kevin, Lance, you guys remember that? What was it called? The trials in the vortex.
Trials of the
Trial
Gods.
of the Gods.
Trial of the Gods. There we go. Yeah.
Yeah, you
okay.
can't forget that. Yeah, it just sticks in your mind. Like after you do that the first time,
nightmare.
it's like sticks
Yeah.
there. Like won't leave.
So
I think it's
the Trial of the
just
Gods.
twice.
The Trial of the Gods had a lot of crit immune units. I don't know if it's like a new meta, if they're trying to make more anti-crit units, or what they're doing, but I would be worried about that. But I'm still going to give her a 5. And I would say that the best for her is Anima, because she has low HP. Just barely pushes above 6,000. So I'd like to see her more HP. So I'm going to give her Anima.
So Lance and Loki both mentioned about her SBB skill. Storm, why don't you talk a little bit about her leader skill, which does a little bit of what that dark unit does. I forgot that name.
Oh yeah, Mini Lily Mata.
That's right, Mata. And then, what do you think about that?
All right, so Zeus Whip Orna has an interesting leadership skill. It's called Ares Aurora. Now, anything with Ares in its name, like Ares Excelsior, automatically a good skill. That being said, she's like a watered-down version of Lily Mata. She's got that boost in the BB gauge when attacked. Now, I don't like getting attacked in my face It's just not really what I like to do. But if I have to be attacked in the face region, I at least want to get something out of it. And in this case, it's BC. And so if you don't have a Lily Manta, she's going to fill that role not as well as it could be done, but she will get it done. And she's also going to boost the BB gauge fill rate. I can't remember the exact amount right now. But something else to talk about besides her leadership skill is the fact that Gumi has announced, and again, fingers crossed, knocking on wood. I'm hoping I'm not jinxed when I say this. But Gumi has announced that Thunder Vortex is definitely still on, and it's not just still on, it is very soon, and they're giving us summons for it. And so whatever score I would have given her beforehand is going to be plumped up and buffed up by the fact that we have a Thunder Vortex arena right around the corner. And so that's going to add a couple of stat points to her, just because she's going to be one of the best Thunder units you can get for that. So that being said, she's got that leadership skill. It's mini Lily Manta. It's pretty cool. And she's also got that boost in crit chance. Now, I love crit teams. I love crit teams. I love spark teams. I love those buffs. Those are my two favorite go-to buffs. I prefer them over any other buff. SGX has been one of my main go-to guys. He's got the 20 hits. He's got the dark element. He just lays down all of those great buffs. But he's so paper thin that if the enemy looks at him the wrong way, he usually just goes poof. And so there goes my continuous crit buffs. There goes all of that stuff just gone. And so the fact that I can replace him with Orna, and I'm going to get 10% left, but I'm going to have a lot better stats. And so with units having a 10% natural chance to crit, plus her Super Brave Burst, we're talking about 60% right there. The cap is 70%. Even if you're using Amana Habakins, that's putting you 10% over. You don't have to. 60% is close enough to the cap. I wouldn't worry too much about it. I'd go with Legwans or something else, something that's going to help out for a sustained fight if that's what you're going for. So I'm definitely a big fan of critical hit units. But let's talk more about the Thunder Arena. When it comes to Thunder Vortex Arena, or Arena in general, the first few things that we're going to do until we have a solid meta set up is going to be high hit counts, low BC requirement Brave Burst. And so her Brave Burst is 14 hits. It requires 25 BC. Now, when you go into arenas, it's halved. And so already you've got it halved, and that's going to be 12 or 13 required to fill it. Now, her basic attack is 12 hits with 2 drop checks. That's 24 BC generated. She has enough BC generated off of her basic attack at max to fill up her own Brave Burst, and that's a sign of a good unit for Arena. So she's definitely got that going for her. Her Brave Burst is going to work really well. It's going to do the Thunder and Fire. It's going to do the massive 14 combo attack. And it's going to have one of the highest BB multipliers because she's a newer unit compared to most of the other Thunder units who have been out for a much longer time or just aren't comparable. Like, you wouldn't take Rogan just because he's just such a single target unit. He's not going to be very good for Thunder Arena. So again, hopefully I didn't jinx it. We're going to go with Anima again. That's going to put her at 6905 with her HP, and with her max imp stats being 300 across the board except for HP, with HP being 750, she's going to be a very well-balanced unit with about 2300 attack, 2000 defense, and whatnot at anima typing with max imps. And so I'm going to have to go 5 stars for her, and I do have to wonder, is there something up with you enjoying the units with whips? It seems like a problem. Seems like a problem later on down the road.
Are you talking to me?
Yes.
Well, first of all, I have to say, you mentioned her uses in Arena. First of all, she's very versatile in my opinion, and that's why I use her, not only because of her animation, but she does look really nice. I have her equipped with a Death Axe and an Amana Habakin, and I can definitely see what you're saying. I can fill up her BB in one turn, and she's usually able to take down one unit. So seeing her in the Thunder Vortex, would definitely have the uses. But yeah, no, I don't have a thing for whips, but only whips on her.
I thought you were about to dodge that question real quick.
Oh man. Okay. What do the viewers think?
All right, so the viewer thinks that she deserves a 5-star, 49 votes. So
I think that's the most votes I've seen thus far for a 5-star.
yeah, for this UA, it seems that's the most votes so far. I just want to say that, I think crit is probably my favorite probably my favorite like buffs in the game. But unfortunately, like Gumi and the game is going. Seems like they're heading towards a direction where all the strongest bosses are crit immune. So that's the only reason why it's really hard to keep on going for crits when it seems like a lot of new content is going to be switched towards like spark damage and elemental weakness. So that's just my reasoning for yeah.
We have a
You heard it
lot
here.
of people in chat who are voting for that whip. I'm just gonna go with it. They're voting for that whip. It's the plot. They are just loving that whip plot.
Yeah, the Turlock's unit. There we go.
Now, if you guys are interested in the whip, there's another unit. Not actually, she doesn't have a whip, but Ferris. Have you guys seen Ferris' attack animation? She like turns around and then springs into the air or something, and then like swings her sword around, and then all the units die as well. Have you guys seen that, Ferris?
I think the best basic attack animation I've seen so far is Lucina. I don't really like Lucina, but her basic attack looks like a freaking Omni Slash straight from Final Fantasy. Like she
Oh,
just
I got it.
disappears, reappears, slashes, disappears, reappears, does another slash. It's pretty awesome to look at. I wish I could do that.
Yeah, I think that's one of the reasons why she got such high votes. You know, I remember her votes being so high, and it's probably because of that. But
I think she received a 5, and we all gave her like a 3.
yeah, I think that's part of the reason why. But
I just want to mention. I just want to mention
Arden
here
has a
that
really nice attack too.
I just want to mention here that the element you heard it here first. The element meta is coming. So. Yeah, and elemental weaknesses meta is coming. So watch out for that.
Yeah. Okay, next unit up is UJ. Now, I have a question for everyone, but Lance, you can take it first. Now, UJ, when I think of UJ, I think of people like Gra, and then I think of Arden, and then I look at UJ and it's like, okay, what's the difference between all these skills? And the difference is, well, UJ gives a heal over 3 turns. And not many people are a proponent of heal over time. What's your opinion on this unit?
I think I'm gonna be the only one who has anything positive to say about EJ. But I think she's definitely usable and not that bad. A lot of the time now, when you bring Gra, this is for his Lightning Darkness buff. I mean, of course, he has that Medulla buff for his leader skill. But I don't think like when I use Gra now, a lot of the time, like most of the time, it will just be for his Lightning and Darkness buff, because I hate bringing Milkiel just for his light buff, and I bring SGX just for his dark buff. So before these units came out, before UJ, before Arden came out, I would bring my Gra if I needed both light and darkness while I'm doing something like questing or whatever I'm doing. And so, I mean, if I got UJ instead of Arden, I wouldn't be that upset, you know. I think it just started with when heal over time, you know, when it first came out, that Phoenix, you know. I think the Phoenix, it just ruins it for everybody. I think everyone was okay with heal over time, but then that experience with the Phoenix and it barely healing anything, you know. You get 3 heals, but it barely heals anything. So a lot of people were just turned off about this. But the thing is, now heal over time actually does heal over time. So it's just not that tiny little, help at the end of every turn, but it actually is a sizable portion now. If you think about it, you bring Eltree and you use Eltree to heal, but the thing is, his heal is 2600, and the thing is, UJ actually heals for 2100 over time for 3 turns. So you're getting a 21, almost like Eltree's regular Braver Serial every single turn. So that's something, it's not nothing anymore, like what we're used to from like the Phoenix. So this unit, like, I hate to say this, but this unit, it seems like the only time she's really good is for those lazy people, who really hate to heal the units, like you'll fight each stage over and over, and then units will just like get their HP lower and lower and lower. But the thing is, if you bring like a UJ, she can always heal your team to fully, so you don't have to worry about it. So she can be useful. Like, I can definitely imagine people who auto battles all the time to have her in their team. and she will just keep your team healthy like the entire time while you're auto battling. Um, it's kind of sad to say that's her probably her best use right now. But the thing is, she currently has the highest hit count of all these units too. So I guess um, 21 hits. So I guess that's like a little bit easier to spark because she has that extra hit count. So, and I guess that's all she has is the lightning darkness. But the thing is, lightning darkness is really good. So I can definitely see her being brought to fight against something like a Maxwell. And the thing is, she'll be a light unit, but she'll have a lightning darkness buff, so she can buff her team with the darkness buff to do bonus damage against Maxwell, and she can heal your team. I remember a lot of the time I wanted to use like my Ultree's Super Bravers, but I couldn't use it because my team was really hurt, so I had to use his Bravers to heal the team. But the thing is, if you bring UJ, she can actually just give your team the buff and also give your team that heal over time, so you don't have to worry about, oh, I have to heal again, because you have 3 turns of healing. So she's definitely usable, and if I get enough people asking for it, I can definitely make a video of using UJ against Maxwell when they open up his trial again. So I think I think it'll be really interesting, and once people see that, oh, my team's HP is always full, if I use her, and plus she provides that light buff now, or darkness buff against Maxwell. So if I were to rate her, if I could, I would give her 3.5 out of 5. But the thing is, since I can't, I'll give her a 4-star. And favorite type is Anima, because she has insanely high recovery. So
Lance, I have a question.
yes.
Does heal over time stack?
Heal over time do not stack, so that's one of the drawbacks too. So you can just stack 2 over time.
Yeah, I was thinking, because I remember Nova kind of talking about Olkina's heal over time. He's like, well, I can't really do Olkina against Maxwell because heal over time is just not enough.
But Olkina, she just has like a massive big heal, I think. So maybe was thinking of a different unit, like maybe maybe he was thinking of a different unit that has heal over time.
Okay.
Tia, maybe Tia or something.
Yeah.
He just has So yeah, I wish it would stack, and then it'll be, I guess, a little bit more useful, but it doesn't stack. So I believe, I'm not sure how this works, but I believe the biggest heal over time pulls through. So.
Okay, Loki.
First of all, I want to say shame on you to all you guys voting 3 stars on UJ. Shame. I like UJ a lot, and it might just be because we don't have a lot of healers that are recommended anymore, or even used, except in really specific situations, such as Maxwell or the trials. Mostly we just go for straight damage and hope that whatever drops, restores our health, health crystals, whatnot. Like for instance, a lot of people see Zell Knight as a pseudo healer just because of the drop rate of all the heart crystals. So looking at UJ, one of the main things people are gonna look at is her versus Arden. It's just a fact, because they both do the 50/50. The light and darkness. They both do AOE damage, and one does healing over time for 3 turns, and one does reduce chance for enemy attack every 1 turn, for 1 turn. So if we look at them just next to one another, yeah, Arden is going to be the more physically more offensive based unit. Now, if we look more granularly, we're going to find that UJ does have quite a few bonuses to her. The first one is that her SBB has 21 hits versus Arden that only has 18 hits. So you're getting an extra 3 hits on every single unit it hits, which is a good advantage, I think. Also, you're getting a heal. Most of the time, I feel that when you're fighting big bosses, big enemies, you're not trying to get a huge bonus in heal. You're trying to get topped off so that when the biggest attack comes in, it doesn't just wipe your team. Because most of the time, the big attack doesn't just instant kill people. It usually just gets them down really low. So what happens is always being topped off, I feel is a really good thing. So having 3 turns of being topped off while you do weak attacks, and then that third attack that you go all out and blast you away, I feel like being topped off is a bonus, for especially in those situations. Also, I want to say that she has her rec is really nice, and I'm not sure actually if this is correct, but I believe that the rec of a healer changes how much it heals. Can you guys confirm that?
There
know
are
that
changes in work that have been happening on JP. Nothing concrete. There's a lot of testing being done. We're not again. This was a ninja update on JP. It wasn't something that they came right out and said this is what's happening. And so there's still a lot of testing being done. We don't have any concrete data because it's going to require a lot of consistent and diverse testing before we have anything that we can substantially say this is what it is for a fact.
Yeah, definitely. So
yeah,
I mean,
that's
go
definitely
on.
what we need to have though, because like units are just getting more and more HP, so we need something like what you're saying to help us heal our units because they just have so much HP and you can't heal enough of that.
Yeah, no, I agree, and the fact is, if having the higher rec helps him heal more, I believe that that being Anima would actually not be very good on her. So I'd have to say, because she's a healer, either Guardian or Lord on her, so GRL on there. Just because Anima would, if this ninja change is true, then you wouldn't want to lower her rec since it's already pretty high. It's nice to have there. I still wouldn't advocate for Oracle since their HP is only around 6,000. Yeah, I think she's a good unit. I think that she's useful anytime you need a healer. She does damage, so she fills up her BB, other people's BB as well. So overall, I think she's a very good heal. She's a nice healer, and a good unit to have. And you should never feel, if you have like her and you don't have Arden, I don't feel you should think any less of that.
So sorry, what was your ranking of you?
Oh yeah, I'd give her a 4.5. Since we don't do 0.5s, I'm gonna give her a 4 as well.
Oh, okay. And favorite typing?
It's gonna be Lord or Guardian.
What's your preference?
I'm gonna go with Guardian.
Okay. Storm?
All right, so when it comes to Yuja, first off, I want to say thanks to all you people who voted 3. You guys know where it's at. Shots fired. One of the things I noticed about Yuja is let's talk about her leadership skill. Her leadership skill is a 50% boost to attack of all units when 5 elements or more are present. So that's a rainbow leader. Now rainbow leaders are pretty common, and so it's a nice skill to have early game to mid game. The second part is reduces the amount of BB gauge used during Brave Burst or Super Brave Burst. So that's the consumption effect. And so you have 2 different skills here. You've got consumption and you've got the decreasing of the amount required. And so consumption requires you to completely fill up the Super Brave Burst bar, use it, and you'll be left over with some, whereas reduction allows you to fill it up faster. And so when it comes to those two, I'm always going to go with the reduction effect. Now, the fact that this unit has both of them, that's kind of nice, but I'm just not a fan of consumption. That being said, this unit, Yuja is not a healer. All right, she's a unit with healer tendencies, but she's not a healer. She doesn't do a burst heal at any point. And yet, when you look at her stats, she's got such a low attack, such a high defense, and such a high recovery that it looks like she's definitely built for healing, but she doesn't have that burst heal she needs. So I feel like she was mismanaged with her stat allocament. Her imp stats are 1,000 into HP with 200 into the rest of the stats, which is pretty sad as well. So when it comes to her, she's got this 21 combo, light, powerful attack, and it's going to add the light and dark element, which are both neutral elements. There's nothing that's going to resist it. And it's got that 400% modifier, so it's meant to do a really good amount of damage, but she doesn't have the attack stat to back it up. So that being said, I would rank her a 3. I would vote Breaker as her typing, because with Breaker, you're going to have 7,000 HP, 2,200 attack, 2,100 defense, and 2,400 recovery after you've imped her. And so that's really where she's going to lie after the chips fall. Second thing I'd like to mention is this entire batch, this entire batch, every single unit, when you combine the amount of BC required for their Brave Burst and their Super Brave Burst, equals 40. Each one equals 40. So this batch is actually built specifically to use with Tillith. Just one Tillith Super Brave Burst will completely fill all of them the exact amount needed. So that is something to think about. They all require 40. It's a very low cost. They all have multiple hits, multiple drop checks. I think each one has 2 drop checks per hit. So that part of the units were built exactly the same, completely to uniform. So it's definitely something to think about when you're creating your unit. Is there a low BC requirement?
Interesting. I wonder if that's why I saw Nova with a Tillith earlier last week. Like he had her as leader. Guess we're gonna have to ask him. Now, Storm, do you have a Tillith?
No, I have. I've only been around for 3 months now. I'm a quick learner though. I've been around for 3 Frontier Hunters. Where the last one I placed, I was ranked 600 overall. And so I am a quick learner when it comes to games like these, but I haven't been along for a very long time.
I think
So the answer is
a
no.
lot of the time when people use Tillith from now on, Tillith is just meant to give a team that doesn't have infinite BB. Like for example, if you're using units like Lilith and Rogan, they instantly get their Super Brave Burst after every turn. But then if you're using units like a Kuda leader, you can actually bring 2 Tilliths, and your team will be able to get infinite BB against one target. So I think that's the reason Tillith is so strong right now. And I think I'm actually going to try that versus Cardis, and all the people who have Tillith can try that too.
So we had a question from Zaphrogen. He says, I noticed when I use Arden's batch, BB, SBB, I don't receive their elemental buff right away, like from Michelle batch. So do I have to wait until their BBs are over to receive the elemental buffs, or will I receive them right away? Have you guys noticed?
Okay, so mostly, like most of the buffs, especially when it's the element buff, they apply as soon as you use it. There's only very few units that where it applies like the turn after. So if it's not said, if it doesn't say it out in the description that it applies it after, most of the time it'll apply right away. And there's really few units that applies after. Like for example, Storm was talking about who were you talking about earlier? Like Sierra. Storm was talking like how people were posting how Sierra's SBB attack buff didn't apply right away, and it applied second turn. So there's only really few units that doesn't apply right away. And another unit that applies after you use the buff was Douglas. And Douglas, he came out a few months ago, and he wasn't applying his spark buff to himself the same turn. So what Gumi did was the maker Alien went into the game, and they finally tweaked it so that he applied the spark buff to himself. So I think that if they don't apply the buff to themselves the same turn, later on in the future, I think there's a good chance that the game maker is going to tweak that setting so that they apply it to themselves as soon as they activate it. So yeah, but almost all buffs apply same turn.
All right, what did the viewers think of UJ?
So it was really close. But she got a 5-star. So
My
Clearly,
3-star
the viewers know
squads
what's going
have
on.
forsaken me. They have
Yeah.
forsaken me. I think
Clearly
we should
5-star.
average that. We should average that. That's what that is.
yeah, and I do agree with Loki on like most of the time when you want to heal, it's not because your team is almost dead. It's because you want to top off. So I do agree that her heal over time is decent enough so that you can like heal each turn. It's actually almost as strong as an elixir or like a regular potion. So yeah, definitely usable.
The main problem I have with it is Tia is the most potent healer, and so if you're not worried about status elements, you're going to bring Tia. She's going to do that burst heal, and then she's going to do that heal over time along with it, and you can't do double heal over time. And so I mean, there's not gonna be a very limited market for Yuja's usability. You'll have to use her when you're not using a heal over time healer, and that's going to be when status debuff or status ailments are a thing.
Yeah, it's just that, like I said, we're getting to the point where they keep increasing our unit overall stats, and we're gonna get to that point. Maybe 7 stars, maybe our units will have, like around like 15,000 HP with all their spheres and stuff. And if you're just heal over time, 2100 heal over time, I don't think that's gonna cut it. Even with the big BB heals. I just think that there's going to be a point where it becomes really hard to heal, 7 stars with massive HP pools. So,
Okay. The last unit we are ranking is the dark unit Arden. Now, Arden has similarities. He does apply light and dark to attack for 3 turns, similar to UJ and Gra. But then he also has an ability which has the chance to reduce enemy attack, just like Fiora. So, like, I feel like Gumi is just, like, throwing us all these units, mixing up their skills, and telling us, hey, well, if you need a unit to do a certain thing, you have to go get them. We don't have one unit that does everything. And, Lance, is this the case for Arden?
I think that's becoming more and more of the case whenever Gumi releases new units now. Like, you have to have this unit. And then next week, you have to have this unit. It's becoming more like that. Instead of when we first started playing, when first Douglas 6-star came out, I think Nova and I we invested really heavily into our Douglas 6-star, and we used them for like almost like half a year. Yeah, Douglas was that good, and it seems like that's less the case from now on. Having units that are good for a long period of times, it seems like with every single next batch or the batch after that, Gumi wants you to spend money and get those units because those units are so much better. So that's becoming the case now. But Arden, he does have his use. When I look at him, the first thought I thought of when I saw him release for JP was like, oh man, this guy is going to be really good against Cardis. And Cardis, Cardis might be here next week or whenever Gumi decides to release Cardis. But Arden is definitely, he looks like he was made to fight Cardis. So I'm really excited and I can't wait to pack Cardis with him. The main reason why he's such a good unit to fight against Cardis is because Arden, he's a dark unit. So that means that he doesn't get chunked down when he fights against Cardis, but all the while he still has that light and darkness buff that he can give to your team. So your team will be doing extra damage against Cardis, and you don't have to worry about Cardis, chunking down Arden. So that's really nice. And also, I haven't done Cardis because he's not released yet, but I was watching Pika Hero by Cardis, and Pika Hero was saying like how Cardis attacks is like really random, and he isn't sure the attack pattern, and he can't find information about Cardis' attack pattern. Well, if that happens, then you don't know when Cardis is gonna hit you with like a massive skill. So that just means that having damage mitigation such as your Dharma Shell and a Arden will be really useful because, if you're not sure you're going to get chunked down, you use Arden first and make sure his skill applies. And if that 50% chance damage reduction applies to the boss, then you save your Dharma Shell for next turn. And then next turn, do that again, if you can. And if it sticks, then you're fine. But if it doesn't stick, then you pop that Dharma Shell like BB or SBB, and you should be safe for those 2 turns. So that's that's the way I see like us using Arden and Fiora for any like really tough bosses. For example, I'm gonna go to my Fiora if I'm fighting like a really tough like a raid boss that's Earth type and it's really tough. I would go to my Fiora. So. This unit, he's really amazing to look at. I got mine to SBB10 just last week, and I was watching him attack the enemies, and his attack animation looks really awesome with his katana. So I really like him. But the thing is, I just don't see him being perfect. This unit. It's really hard for me to pick perfect units now because Gumi released units that are good, but not so strong that that you only need that unit and you don't have to resummon anymore. So, for example, I'm looking at all these units since we're at the end of our UA. I'm looking at all of these, and all of these, none of them are like, oh, I need to have them, or else I can't, do content. Like currently, it's like that from now on. But the thing is, yeah, that's how I see it right now. All these units are good, but the thing is, you don't really need them. So that's why I gave a lot of 4 stars, and Arden is gonna get a 4 star too. Like I wish I can give him like a 4.5 because he's almost there, but the thing is, he's just not there. Like his leader skill, like I don't talk about the leader skills a lot because the thing is, if you have a unit like a Maxwell, you're not gonna want to switch to a different unit for most of your content. You're just gonna keep your Maxwell, and yeah, that's the way it is right now. Maxwell, he's the leader. If you are high ranking, you look at your friend list, and Maxwell is like over half of them, or almost all of them are Maxwell. So the thing is, all these leader skills are just irrelevant. Like they're good, but the thing is, they just can't top Maxwell. And if you don't like Maxwell leader skill, you get an ultra leader skill, which is just as almost as crazy. So yeah, his leader skill not that interesting. Maybe if it was like 100% attack all to 5 elements, or maybe something higher like 75, then you'll want to take a closer look at his leader skill. But it's 50%, so that's like really nothing. So 4 star, and favorite type is I got the breaker type, so I'm gonna say breaker because I got a breaker type, and his attack is insane. Like it goes to 2673, which is really high, and even though it's a breaker type, he still has 1653 defense, which is 1645 defense, which is still really good. So 4 star and breaker type.
All right.
Charles?
Yeah. I don't think I must have lost connection or something. Yeah. Anyway, so looking at Arden, the first time going along with the memories, the first time I ever saw Arden, I said, "Oh my God, here comes Sephiroth." But it turned out to not be Sephiroth. It turned out to be this guy. So what can I say? He is a beast. His attack is really high, and his skills are really nice. So and his stats are all nice across the board. If you look at his BB skill, AoE attack, SBB, AoE attack, light to dark, just like Yaja, and his reduced enemy attack for 1 turn. If you look at that, we're seeing basically the same thing as we said with Fiora. And I said with Fiora before, I'm only looking at them as what they can do now. I mean, in the future, that might be really useful, but it's still only a 30% chance, and it's still not really useful on any content that's out now. In Cadra, in Raid, in the future, it might be really nice, but right now, it's sort of like a mess skill, especially because of that 30%. If you look at his stats, you're gonna see that he's got monstrous attack. I said before, 2300. His defense is a bit low though on the 1843, and his rec is just fine, 1800. I believe an anima is the best thing for him. Having more HP is always good. His attack is already nice. His rec can take the hit, and I wouldn't want to bet breaker just because that puts his HP a bit low. If he leaves HP as it is with the M's, it's plus 300, you can get it right to about 2100, which is pretty nice. What's there to say about Arden? Other than that, he's a really nice unit. He's great in arena. He's great for damage, and everything's just really nice. But most people, I guess I didn't pull one, so I don't really know much about him on that end. But I can say that if you have him, be happy about it. If you don't, it's not the end of the world. As I said, Yuja, a lot of units Yuja can give the light and darkness, and Gra can give light and darkness. So it's not the end of the world. Otherwise, he's a very powerful unit, and I would give him a 4, and I would say that he's an anima.
All right, Storm, you're last, but here's a question for you. Storm, you here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. We have dark units. We have Arden we have Elza, we have Gra, we have all these great units. Which dark unit reigns supreme in December 2014?
It's gonna be between Elza and Kuda. You also forgot Kuda. Don't forget. Kuda is the best.
Storm?
Hello?
We have lost Storm. He was so excited.
I knew him well. Sweet guy. Well, I miss
Oh
him.
my gosh. Okay. Well,
He was the one who suggested we mute our mic. Maybe he muted his mic.
No, he lost connection. Lance, do you want to try filling in for him? Let's talk about. He likes to talk about the leader skills. Why don't you jump into that?
Leader skill of Arden. Well, Arden's skill is leader skill is pretty generic to all Rainbow leader skill. I mean, if you're a starting player, his leader skill is definitely usable because you're going to have a lot of Rainbow type of units. So he'll be good for the middle, maybe the end
indecision
of the
literally
content,
killed me. Literally killed me. Elza. Elza is what I would consider an S rank unit. She's got so much going for her. 70% boost to spark damage, which is the second best spark buffer in the game. She's got the 30 hits. She's got that high chance of curse. She's got Ares Excelsior, which is one of my favorite leadership skills when boosting DC production, which is a 50% boost to that production. So when it comes to dark units, Elza all the way. But Kuda's a very close contender. It's just a few points difference there for me.
are you saying that I leveled up my Arden for nothing?
No. There's a lot to go around for Arden, and I'm about to get
Okay.
to that. But he doesn't bring us much to the table. He's a specific thing you're going to bring him for. Whereas Elza, you're going to bring her on a lot of squads, or Kuda, you're going to bring him on just about every squad you can throw together. I gotta say the dark unit power creep is getting a little ridiculous. We're getting some really amazing dark units. I know they've got plans for Gra 6-star coming out, and I'm afraid of what that's going to do. So we're talking about Arden right now, and I think a lot of reasons why people like him is besides his stats, everything besides that. From just looking at a sprite, I mean, you've got this really amazing demonic angel sprite, and so a lot of people are going to go for that right off the bat. And now again, we're going to start by looking at the leadership skill. The leadership skill, again, he's a rainbow leader, and so you're kind of forced to compare him against Yuja when it comes to leadership skills because they've got that duality going on. They're both rainbow leaders. Yuja is the consumption. You save some BC after using it, whereas Arden is he lessens the requirement by 15%. And so then it becomes, do you want to set up your second Brave Burst faster, or do you want to get to your Brave Burst quicker? And for me, it's always going to be about getting to the Brave Burst quicker and slamming it down your opponent's face. And when you compare him to Yuja, or actually, that's pretty much where the comparisons between them end, except for the whole dark light buff. And so next, you want to compare him against Fiora. Fiora is the only other unit in the entire game who has the same type of mitigation as him. And so when you compare him versus Fiora, you've got to remember that fire, if you ever go against water, you're going to do half damage, whereas Arden is always going to deal neutral damage unless he's going against light, and then he's going to deal the 1.5 times damage. Additionally, every single step of the way, he has 2 or more hits than her. His normal attack is 12, hers is 10, his BB is 16. I don't know what hers is, doesn't matter. His SBB is 18, hers is 16. So that's more drop checks because it's 2 per hit, and so that's 4 extra drop checks there. It may not be a lot, but every bit of BC counts. So he's going to do 18 hits. He's going to have 36 drop checks there. When you look at his stats, after imping, I'm definitely going to pick the breaker stat because we saw how much damage Ultor can do with just a 3k attack stat. Why don't we get Arden there and do just as much damage? So after imping him, because he's kind of worth imping if you've got the extra imps for it, he's going to have 7k HP, which is a very respectable number. He's going to have almost 3,000 attacks sitting right at 2,800. He'll have the 20. He'll have like right at 2,000 defense, which is very respectable. And he'll have a little bit over 2,000 recovery, which, while recovery is not a necessary stat, you do need some of it. And like we saw with Ultor just has a very low recovery. So we're kind of lucky that he boosts his defense. Otherwise, he would have a hard time coming back from the hits he takes. And so with Arden, you're gonna use him for certain scenarios when you want that buff to go off, that 30% chance to half their attack. But you're also going to use him as just a brute force AOE attacker. He's going to hit, and he's going to hit very, very hard. And he's most likely going to make sure that they don't get back up. Now, again, we've got the neutral damage. We've got a 40 BC cost SBB when you combine the BB and SBB costs. I mean, you've got a really respectable unit here. I don't have one. I'm kind of a little jealous I don't have one of him or a Fiora. He's got a good imp spread. He's got 750 HP and 300 in the rest of his stats, which is pretty average. So he's a really good-looking unit. I'm going to have to go with a 4-star for him, though. He doesn't bring anything to the table except for his half damage debuff on enemies, and so that's the only unique thing that he brings to the table. And so if he didn't have that, I mean, you could definitely replace him with maybe a unit that doesn't have as much attack, but brings something like Spark, Defense Ignore, Attack Boost, Crit Boost, those kind of things. I would make sure you have those kind of things before worrying about the brute force attackers. But all in all, a very good unit.
So what was your ranking? Sorry.
4.
And typing?
Breaker, because I am so greedy and 3k attack sounds amazing.
Okay. And Lance, what do the viewers think?
Viewers think that he deserves a 3-star with 40 votes. So.
Oh, okay.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's pretty relevant if you just think for now. If you don't think about the future, then I think that's a pretty close score. But for future content, you're gonna need him. So.
All right, so right now we're done with this batch, but right now in the rare summoning portal, there is a thunder rate up. Nonetheless, we're going to tackle the question, should free-to-play users summon if this batch came out again? The Fiora batch, that is. Should people summon? What do you guys think?
Yeah, well, the thing is, with the Michelle batch, when Michelle batch came out, that batch and Loden, we immediately said, of course, you need to summon this unit because these units were the first that apply the element buffs. And now we're getting units that apply 2 element buffs. So I think Nova said that, you know, this set is probably one of the best set that he's seen in a while. And it is true, like a lot of these units are really strong. It's just not 1 or 2 units like here and there that are really strong, but a lot of these units are really strong. So I definitely think that this set should be summoned. If you're a new player, these sets will take you a long way. So what do you guys think?
I think what we've got here is we've got attack, we've got defense, we've got crit buffers. I really wish that one of these units had a spark buff, and then we'd have like the holy quadricta or whatever it's called, quadrilope, rectangle, whatever you want to call it. So if we had a spark buffer, I would give it a 100% yes, just go for it. If you don't have an attack buffer, if you don't have a crit buffer, quadumvirate, it's really hard to pronounce. If you don't have an attack or crit buffer, I would definitely summon. If you're stuck with a lot of older units, I would definitely summon. What you're going to notice here is the power creep. Older units had a stat pool, and their stat pool was comparable to those units, and then the next ones came up a little bit higher, and the next ones came out a little bit higher. And so what we got here is we've got the current like highest stat totals possible. They've got high hit counts, low BC cost, and just they do a lot of good stuff for you. So definitely, yes.
I think what these units bring is versatility. I mean, it gives you 2 elements, so using one of these units in places like Frontier Hunter will give you an immense boost in the amount of points you'll get. So, you know, you don't have to use every single unit presented here to be effective Frontier Hunter. You just have to pick the unit that you lack.
Yeah, sometimes it's hard to choose too. So because you know, like Fiora is so nice, you know, Ornn is so nice. But the thing is, some people don't have like options like us. You know, where we can choose. Oh, do I want Ornn or Fiora, or do I want Luca or Eve? You know, some people don't have that luxury of choosing which one they want to bring. And if they summon Eve, you know, oh, they have something that's double. If they summon Luca, they're covered. You know. So I think that's what double element brings. It helps free players and players don't have access to all the units be pretty competitive. So
I agree. I think it's a great time to summon. I mean, as soon as the Thunder rate up goes, if these guys came back out, definitely summon them. They're good in every single way. I mean, we rate these guys 3s, 4s, and 5s. Just in the base, and if you look at just what they bring to the table, they're just amazing. We're calling them 4 and 5, based on today's standards. But if you're still rocking like old unit, I mean, if you're still looking at the olden days, we need units like Pixie Lord Lior and Ice and Wizard Dean and those guys. I mean, those guys would be just nothing compared to these guys. So, just really keep that in mind that we're giving these guys 4s and 5s, but by in the olden days, if you're still using those old units, these guys would be like 7s. So they're really good units. They bring a lot to the table, and I think really they're just a full upgrade of the Michelle batch.
yeah, exactly. And the thing is, we actually have the luxury of seeing what's coming up next. So Nova keeps saying Sierra batch, Sierra batch, Sierra batch, and the Sierra batch is coming soon. And in the Sierra batch, there's not a lot of units where you go, oh, like most of these units are good. I think besides Sierra, everybody else is just like, oh, they're okay, but all these units, they're all like, you look at almost all these units and you can go, oh, they're good, oh, they're good, oh, they're good, So because of that, of course, we're gonna recommend that you summon them. So.
All right. So if you guys have been paying attention in chat and on stream, there has been 5 codes given away, each $20 Amazon gift code that you can redeem for the App Store. And we have 5 more codes that we're going to give away. Lance, do you want to tell people how they can get their hands on one?
Yes. So we just got our new batch of Amazon promo codes a few days ago. And so we'll be giving away these promo codes. So if you guys want to win, all you guys have to do is follow all of us. So Loki, do you have a Twitch page?
I do. It's Loki Oric.
Okay, so Loki, why don't you type it in there so people can know where to follow you? You want people to follow you or no? Or you don't
Sure.
want them to?
I'm
okay.
fine with followers.
Yeah.
I mostly just hang out on Trilox's page though. So.
Okay. All right.
I
So
can't do-
make sure you just follow all of us and follow Loki, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna raffle, and then you guys can, if you guys want to win, you guys can enter the raffle, and if you pull your name and we check that you're following all of us, we're gonna give you the prize. So please don't say yay or I win. Say something like I accept the prize, or I say something like please re-raffle. So yeah, so just follow all of us, and good luck. And this isn't the last time that we're gonna give away these codes. We have a lot more codes. So next week, you guys are gonna get even more codes next week too. So just stay tuned.
That's right. And before we get started, I would like to thank everyone who joined, the casters, Storm and Lance. Thank you for coming along. And Loki. If you guys don't know Loki, Loki was the person who provided us with the Luca codes when we gave them away. This was probably over a month ago, right, Loki?
Yeah, a bit over a month ago.
Yep.
Back
and
in late October.
he was our Comic-Con representative, and yeah, he was grabbing codes for us. So thank you very much. And
I'm surprised they didn't know me because I just kept like showing up and like, oh, new codes, whatever. It's like taking from random people. Probably like a warrant for my arrest after that. Yeah.
all right, so you guys know how the raffle works, but if you don't, here's how it works. Once I open up the Moobot raffle, you guys can type !raffle to be entered in, and then we will pull a name. If your name gets chosen, we will be sending you a code via Twitch. And Lance, I heard someone asking if there was a Super Stream Sunday tomorrow.
Unfortunately, I have a quiz on Monday, so there'll be no super stream.
All right.
But yeah, but maybe I have Christmas break off, so maybe we'll do something crazy. I know there's a lot of good sales going on, so maybe we'll do something crazy like raffle off a tablet or something for Christmas. I don't know.
Wow.
But,
What?
yeah.
A tablet?
Yeah. Yeah.
Can
I'd
I
like to do-
momentarily like leave the BFP and then get a part of that raffle? You know.
Yeah.